Hello everyone, I'm Paul and this is problem 3471. Find the largest almost missing integer. This is an interesting easy problem, so let's see how to solve it step by step. We are given an integer array nums and an integer k, so let's say that we are given this input. Our job is to return the largest almost missing integer from nums. This integer that's almost missing appears in exactly one subarray of size k within nums. If there's no such integer, we need to return -1 instead. In case you know what a subarray is, it's a contiguous sequence of elements. For example, we can form a subarray with these 3 elements or with these 2, but we can form one with 3 and 7 because these 2 elements are not contiguous. In this example, k is equal to 3, so how many subarrays of length 3 do we have here? Well, we have this one, and this one. We have 3 in total. And we are looking for the largest number within this array that appears in exactly one subarray of length 3. So let's say that we are testing number 3. We only see this number in this subarray, so this could be the result. But we are looking for the largest number. So let's say that next we test 9. How many times do we see 9? Well, we have it in this subarray, and given that we see the number in 2 subarrays, this is not a possible result. Next we try 2. We have a 2 in this subarray, and in this subarray. We see this 3 times, so this is not a valid result either. If we try a 1, we only see this in these 2 subarrays. And given that, well, 2 is larger than 1, this is not valid either. And if we try 7, we only see it in this subarray. Given that we only see this in one subarray, this is a possible result. The maximum between 3 and 7 is 7, so the result here is 7. So maybe you're thinking about running this same process. You can iterate every number in nums. Each time the current number is the target. From each target, you can iterate every possible subarray and count the number of times that you see the target in different subarrays. Then you keep the maximum number among valid targets, and this is how you get the result. This is technically correct, but it requires a time complexity of n cube, which is fine because down here we have the constraints. We know that the length of the array can be of up to 50, k is smaller or equal to 50, so we are good to go. 50 to the power of 3 is a relatively small number. Now, there are a few observations that we can make here to make this more efficient. Let's see how that works. Now let's say for a moment that k is equal to 5, meaning the total amount of elements. Now we only have one subarray, right? So what's the result? We're looking for the largest number that we find in only one subarray of length 5. Well, the result is the maximum number of nums, which in this case is 9, this 9. And we don't care about whether we have all 9s here, for example. Maybe you're thinking that this is wrong because we are repeating elements. We don't care about this because n is equal to k. We are looking at only one subarray. Number 9 is the maximum number that appears in only one subarray of length 5. So this is the result. And what if k is equal to 1? Now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 subarrays, right? So what's the result here? Well, maybe you are thinking that we need to take the maximum number, but what if here we have a 9 instead of a 1? Now we are repeating the same number in 2 different subarrays. So we have to take the maximum number of unique elements. And how can we count frequencies in an array? Well, with a frequency map. So first we build this map. We can go through these numbers from left to right. First we have a 3, so we add it as a key. This is the first 3 that we see. Next we have a 9, so we add it as a key. The count is 1. Next we have a 2, so the count is 1. Next we have a 1, the count is 1. And finally we have a 7, the count is 1. And once again, for convenience, let's say that this one is a 9 instead. Now we add 1 to this count, this is 2, and we don't have this. So if k is 1, we are looking at 5 subarrays, right? And we know that the result is not the 9 because we see this number in two different subarrays. We have that information right here in the map. So we can iterate numbers from left to right and keep the largest key in the frequency map with the count of 1. In this case, the result will be 7. And for the final scenario, let's say that k is something in between 2 and n-1. For example, let's say that it's 2. Now we have a lot of subarrays, right? We have all of this. So what do we do now? The main observation is that every element except for the leftmost and rightmost elements is in more than one subarray. For example, let's say that we take this one. We see n9 in this subarray and in this subarray. If we take this element, it's here and here. If we take this number, it's here and here. And the same would happen with any other number that's in between 2 and n-1. For example, let's say that k is equal to 3, and we are looking at this 9. We see this number here and here. Let's say that we take this 2. We see the number here, here, and here, and so on. So if k is equal to 2, how many times do we see this leftmost element? Well, we only see it in this subarray. And how many times do we see the rightmost element? Well, we only see it in this subarray. So if any of these two elements has a frequency of exactly 1, that could be the result. We check what's the frequency of the leftmost element. We have it right here, it's a 1. So 3 could be the result. Then we check what's the frequency of the rightmost element. We have it here and it's a 1. So 7 could be the result. The final result in this scenario is the maximum between 3 and 7, which is 7. And for the final scenario, what if this number is a 7? Now we have two 7s, so the count here should be 2, right? So the frequency of the leftmost element is 1. The frequency of the rightmost element is 2. At this point, we only have one candidate, so the result is 3 in this case. Remember that if we have a 7 here and k is 2, we see this number in this subarray and in this subarray, so it's no longer valid. And what if this number is a 3 instead of a 9? Now we have two 3's, so the count here should be 2. The frequency of the leftmost element is 2. The frequency of the rightmost element is 2. At this point, we have no number that appears in only one subarray of length 2, so the result in this case is -1. And finally, I was missing this scenario. What if k is equal to 1 and we have something like this? Every frequency is larger than 1. We see 2 3's and 3 2's. So there's no number that's only in one subarray of length 1. If we take the 3, we see it here and here. If we take the 2, we have it in 3 different subarrays. So the result here is -1 also. And by doing this, we solve the problem in overall big O of n time and space complexity, because we have to iterate n elements and we need our frequency map. So with this in mind, let's go with the code. First, we can say that n is the length of the array, and if k is equal to n, then we return the maximum value of nums. Else, we need a frequency map. This is a default dictionary with a default value of 0 for every key. And we can say for every number in nums, frequency map at the current number plus equal 1. Once we have this, we can build an array to make this slightly more efficient. Here we are storing elements with a frequency of 1. So we can iterate the map for every number and value in frequency map dot items. We say that if the current value is equal to 1, we add the corresponding key to the array. So unique dot append the number. And now we can say if k is equal to 1, we return the maximum value of unique if we have something in unique, right? Because this might be empty, in which case we need to return -1. If we are here, k is something in between 2 and the total number of elements -1. So regarding the leftmost value, we are calling this first. This is equal to num0 if the frequency of this number is exactly equal to 1. Else, we use a -1. Regarding the last value, the rightmost element, here we take the last value if the frequency of this element is exactly equal to 1. Else, we keep -1. And finally, we want to return the maximum between first and last. So let's submit this and see if it works. As you can see, this works and it's very efficient. So if you found this useful, please drop a like, subscribe, and see you in the next one. Bye bye.